Let's play Spot the Similarities with these two photos. Okay, time's up, pencils down. If you said mullets, musicians, or a part of the Cyrus family, you're a winner. Congratulations. Thanks for playing.
True North Reviews, True North Reviews, True North Reviews.
Hey there, welcome to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we are discussing the Miley Cyrus album, Plastic Hearts. This is the 7th studio album from the Disney child star turned full-blown musical artist, Miley Cyrus, who is reinventing herself for just about the millionth time now. I'm being facetious, of course. Most recently, though, Miley appears to be on the bandwagon of 80s synth-pop and disco, much like Dua Lipa earlier this year. However, not even Dua Lipa owns rights to that era, as every artist takes inspiration from others, Miley being no exception. What is particularly interesting or of note for Miley, though, is that she's made a strong case recently for putting a refreshing spin on this 80s aesthetic, completely barging her way through like a bull in a china shop with such raspiness and grit to her vocals. This was most notable on the covers of Hall & Oates' Man-Eater and Blondie's Heart of Glass, essentially the showcasing of pop rock songs that are synonymous to the era that Miley is emulating on Plastic Hearts, but also adding that relentless fury into the mix. Now, fans anticipating the rollout for Plastic Hearts will know very well that the original plans didn't come into fruition. Miley, in the creative process, was rather working towards a trilogy of EPs, each with a continual story arc, and that was arranged to culminate in a full-length record that was literally scrapped and erased because Miley's house caught on fire. However, opting for optimism and courage, Miley simply used the fire as an opportunity to shoehorn in the latest chapter of her life, including her ego that essentially checked itself, as she said in a statement. Now, unlike many pop artists this year, I was intrigued to keep up with Miley personally, whether it was through her interviews or her celebration for her father's birthday. I did, of course, feel bad that she went through that house fire, and I think for that reason I found myself entangled with her character and personality more than I ever have in the past with this album cycle. And musically, well, I did enjoy singular and hand-picked moments on the EP She Is Coming. Nothing frankly surpasses the quality on Plastic Hearts. This became very clear with the lead single Midnight Sky, which is perfect for driving at night with its nocturnal and slick groove. I can't get enough of the sheer muscle and force behind Miley's vocals either, such smoky and coarse qualities that are truly irresistible. Mullet Miley might also be a vibe too. It's just sad to think that I didn't say Midnight Sky was a great song from the get-go. Confirmations of greatness were absolutely confirmed by Edge of Midnight, the very worthy mashup of Midnight Sky with Stevie Nicks' Edge of 17. While many artists would likely fall flat on their face and come off as derivative on something like this, and yes, maybe Miley has the industry cred and the connections and the blessing of these artists that she works with, but Miley and Miss Nicks came together and made something special and fun as hell, if I'm being honest. Capitalizing on more fun, Prisoner featuring Dua Lipa is a joyride of a tune which sees the two artists having incredible chemistry, enough for it to sound like a true 50-50 split of the song more than just a feature. Prisoner is so badass and unapologetic, it dives into that vintage 80s sound with a hook that will bury its way into your subconscious. Of course, it might be in your consciousness that you hear similarities to ONJ's Physical, and I didn't think it was possible to have two essentially shoutouts of Olivia Newton-John's Physical in the same year, let alone from the same artists, and let alone still sounding fresh and everything that is amazing in between. I think not only is Prisoner great for a modern reworking of that already iconic song, but also what it signifies for females in the music industry of today is incredibly empowering. Kicking off this record is nothing less than amazing either. It's like a punch to the face on WTF Do I Know. This is a song that has thick bass, layered and textured guitars, upbeat energy on the drums, an electric guitar solo, one of the few on this album actually. That being said, the part I most appreciate about this intro cut is the punk rejection of Miley's reception in the eyes of the media and her own family. differently. After all, at the core of this record, we are left with a dejected Miley, someone who might be trying to move on from her public divorce from Liam Hemsworth. Of course, the lyrical content is one thing to be reeled in by, but this intro cut is still very catchy, and with its melodies, we can only thank Louis Bell and One Republic's Ryan Tedder. Moving on to the subsequent track, Plastic Hearts, we start to get a better idea of this rock era that Miley is exploring. The hand drums and looped bass lines are certainly meditative on this track, also maybe a subtle nod to the Rolling Stones' Sympathy for the Devil. However, setting this apart as an enjoyable Miley track is the call and response vocals in the chorus. I appreciate the sing-songy feel to them and how the melodic ideas bounce off one another. Next, the record transitions into Angels Like You, which has a chord progression and cadence that are well defined and executed with a degree of satisfaction. However, building towards this boom clap style and the percussion of the final chorus, while this does open up a lot of space for Miley's vocals in the mix, I just can't help but to feel that the tune was undeserving of this arrangement. It seems like the song went a little overboard and melodramatic for my personal liking. Correcting her course though, Miley later tries her hand at a Nine Inch Nails style song with Gimme What I Want. With this track, I appreciate the seductive nature. It's like this self-love sentiment on the surface that, of course, is taken to an extreme, insinuating that if we don't get our next fix, the sexual pleasure might have to be brought upon ourselves. Certainly fitting for the Nine Inch Nails aesthetic, the styled instrumental, but I also think Miley's vocals complement it fairly well. Her performance aptly borders on that required psychotic but also reserved, calm, cool, and collected vibe. I mean, the bridge on Gimme What I Want is heavily underwritten, and the last leg of the track essentially goes nowhere, but I can look past those elements since the hook and the instrumental are just too much of a focal point to ignore. Similarly, embarking on other artist influences, the cut High is a breath of fresh air in the middle of this record that was already a breath of fresh air with its rock and punk aesthetics. Maybe coming out of left field, we have a country-tinged track, but not like super country. Honestly, High makes me think of some newer Kesha, but instead substituted with Miley's attitude. It's also nice to hear the exploration of melody much more thoroughly, in my opinion. I feel like High was the vocal showcasing I expected when I listened to Angels Like You, except this time much more contained and focused. Adding on to the influences of Plastic Hearts, there are obvious incorporations of features, two of which come directly out of the historic sandbox that Miley is playing in. Billy Idol appears on Night Crawling. On this track, I love the interplay between the bouncy synths, the disco drums, and bubbly melodies in the verses. Just a fun song all around. Now, Billy Idol's inclusion, on the other hand, that might seem a little out of place given that he's no longer in his vocal prime compared to, say, Dua Lipa. Nonetheless, I can't hate on the ad-libs that he delivers on the track. The other notable feature on this record goes to Joan Jett. Her and Miley share the spotlight on Bad Karma, which is this rock and roll song down to a T. From the moans to the razor-thin edge guitars to even the personas that Cyrus and Jett embody, it's incredible that they recaptured that magic in 2020, 40 years after this style was originally made popular by Joan. Granted, it's not reinventing the wheel or anything. There's no surprises that come on Bad Karma. It's pretty standard Joan Jett worship with her literally on the song, but I guess the most pleasant surprise actually comes in the form of the Angel Olsen guitar credit on here. Damn, one of the last people I would ever predict on a Miley track. Of course, Miley has her frequent collaborators too. Mark Ronson is yet again a writer and producer on Plastic Hearts. He gets his moment to shine on the spacious and forthright Never Be Me. It's this heart on the sleeve kind of moment, which was definitely forecasted by Ronson's previous collab with Miley on the Most last EP, but in the context of a better record all around, I think Never Be Me will end up being another underdog of a track to root for. Really, most of this record, Plastic Hearts, plays like an underdog story, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense given that Miley is so well known. I just think so many albums have come and gone for her that she's never quite stuck the landing as a holistic project. Plastic Hearts, though, this is the album that Miley knew she could write. It certainly took a lot longer than expected, but this is easily one of her most consistent records across the board. The performances, the writing, the production, they're all on point. I think there's even a watertight track list on this too that easily captures the past few years of Miley's personal life. It's a mood, and she has the songs to back her up. Thank God she isn't sticking her foot in her mouth with any forcibly edgy or truistic statements. She's not bragging about smoking a bowl, she's not saying her cat is in heat and her pussy's on fire. There's actual substance to this record, and it's fun to listen to as well. I'm feeling a light 8 out of 10. There's the review of Plastic Hearts by Miley Cyrus. Make sure you guys sound off down below in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of this music, whether you agree or disagree. I'm here to engage with you guys. If you'd like to leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town, I'd appreciate that. As always, thanks for watching, and have a rockin' day.